6 months ago, I walked out of my job for the last time, and I had no idea I'd be sitting here pregnant, living on one income, and wondering how we were going to afford a baby. If you've been following me for a while, then you know I'm currently a stay-at-home wife, pregnant with our first baby, and honestly, this season of my life has looked a lot different than I expected. So let me take you back to where all of this started. I was working at a plasma donation center as a phlebotomist, and I had been there for about 3.5 years. For the most part, I enjoyed what I did, but I also have endometriosis. So every month around the time for my period, I would end up calling out because I was in so much pain, like especially before my surgery. And over time, those call outs started to add up. On top of that, my work schedule is all over the place. And if you know me, I'm a type A person. I like structure, routines, and knowing what my week gonna look like ahead of time. So the constant schedule changes that started creating stress for me, and eventually that stress started affecting things at home. So my husband finally was like, hey, just quit. And at first, I wasn't really sure about that, but eventually, whenever I got called into the office for my final straw, I finished my shift that day and walked out, and then I never came back. And at the time, I felt like it was the right decision. But what I didn't know was that just 2 months later, after I quit, I would have a positive pregnancy test. And let me tell you, that was a complete shock because we had been trying for 2 years with no luck. Every month, it was like another disappointment. So whenever I finally saw those 2 lines, like I almost couldn't believe it. And I honestly think that reducing my stress of not being at work played a huge role. And if you're wondering, we also started drinking the pink stork fertility tea. We drank that in January and we got pregnant in February. So if you ever need a little bit of help, pink stork fertility. But however, it happened and we were finally getting the baby that we had prayed for so long. And being a stay-at-home wife has actually been a really good experience overall. I am so grateful that I have the opportunity to actually experience this season. And I'm especially grateful for my husband for making it possible. For a while, living on one income wasn't that difficult because I had already handled most of our budgeting and I knew where our money was going, things like that. But then life started life. Food costs went up. We owed money to the IRS. Our tags needed to be renewed. Baby expenses, just everything. But before we knew it, we were behind on multiple bills, and that's when reality really started to hit me. I remember I was sitting down looking at our bills and looking at the bank account and realizing that we were behind on 3 different bills. And at that point, I started applying for jobs again because I could see like the direction of we were heading. And I actually got hired by 2 different places and I accepted the one that paid the most because that makes more sense, right? I was fired within the week. And honestly, after everything that's happened, I keep coming back to the same thought of maybe that's just God trying to tell me that I'm not supposed to be working in this season, because I've tried. Even like remote work, I've tried. And if this is the path that God wants me on right now, then I'm just going to choose to trust him. And that doesn't mean that it's easy, because right now we're behind on bills. We have doctor's appointments. I got a headlight that's out and that costs like $120 to replace. That's going to have to wait 3, 4, 5 months. And then it feels like the baby's arrival date is just so close. But the thing that has helped me the most is realizing that God, he just keeps providing even when I can't see how. And we have had so many baby items that have been gifted to us. Some we found on Facebook Marketplace for like $20 and less. Other things have come from yard sales or like community giveaways that I've gotten for free. And every time I start to panic, like something just seems to show up exactly whenever we need it. Even my husband has been doing Spark on the side to bring in extra money whenever he can. With gas prices, most of it goes right back into gas anyway, but he keeps going because every little bit will help. And honestly, he works harder than anyone I know. Like, the hardest part has probably been managing stress. Like, I know stress isn't good in general, but especially not during pregnancy. So I've been doing my best to keep it under control. But every Thursday when I sit down and go through our upcoming bills and stuff for the week, it is so hard not to get stressed out. So if you are somebody who prays, I would appreciate a prayer every Thursday morning. But lately, God has been teaching me a few things. So the first thing is gratitude. Even on our hardest days, we're still incredibly blessed, and I realize that. The second thing is budgeting, because I've been thinking a lot about how maybe this season is just preparing us for something bigger. Like maybe God is teaching us how to manage our money now so that when we have more later, we're ready for it. I've always heard people say when you pray for flowers, you have to be prepared for the rain, and I think I'm in my rain right now. So right now I'm 20 weeks pregnant, which means that we are halfway there. Part of me is excited, and then the other part of me is nervous. And honestly, some part of me still feels like completely unprepared. And as far as me making money, I've tried to start a boutique at home twice this year. Neither attempt worked out. So now I'm giving YouTube another chance. I've tried it before. I got frustrated. I got burnt out and I quit. I have a habit of doing that. But this time, since I've learned a little bit, it feels a bit different because I realize now that everything is a learning curve and success isn't supposed to be like a straight line. Sometimes it's messy, sometimes it's slow, and sometimes the only thing you can do is just keep showing up. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And if you are also in a season to where you're trying to trust God, stretch your budget a little bit, prepare for a baby, or just simply figure things out one day at a time, I'd love for you to stick around because we're still in the middle of this story. We don't have anything figured out, but over the next few months, I'll be sharing this entire journey as we prepare for our first baby, navigating life on one income, and continuing to build the life we're believing God for.